tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We're meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me, we're meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. You and me, meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Glitter Gang, and happy Thursday. Welcome back to Kathryn Scraps Live. I'm Kathryn, and today I'm going to be working on the book club journal. So these are the tags that we made in the last episode to go, well, these are the cards we made to go on the tags. These are the mats for the tags. I have, I think, 18 of them here. There may be room for more, quite honestly. There probably is, but you know, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So I have those to work on. And then also these are the stat cards that we also designed, and all the downloads for these are in the archives. So if you have access to the archives, you have access to these downloads. And they're all in there, both for 13 by 19 and 8.5 by 11, whichever kind of printer you have. Now, if you have an 8.5 by 11 printer with these, you will have to piece them together, but I have divided it in such a way that they overlap so that you can do a Franken paper on that. So you can do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by inking these, I think, and taping them and getting them stuck down so that the matting is done, at least as far as the inserts go, and then we can do a recording break and get to work on the tags. So I'm going to use Distress ink in Pumice Stone. That's a nice warm gray that goes well with this paper collection, and that's what I've been using throughout. I hope you all have had wonderful days, afternoons, evenings, mornings, whatever you have experienced up until watching this show. I am ready for bed for some reason, so we'll see if I make it all the way to the end of this show. And now I'm going to tape, and I'm just going to use 1/4 inch tape. That'll be good enough. Wow, I can't get my tape bracelet started. All right, here we go. And I am going to do a tape chain for these since they are the same size. And you are able to get all, well, they're not the same size. I cut one of them shorter for some reason. You are able to get all of them from one sheet of 13 by 19 paper. I may trim this one so that it's the same height as these two. I might have just forgotten to trim it, because you only need to trim about 1/4 inch. So I could just have not trimmed it and thought that I had. That's entirely possible. Because they need to be about 12 3/4, and these are 12 3/4, these two. So this one is just not trimmed. I just didn't trim it. I just did not. Did not. Mystery solved. And because these are just so long, I am gonna, and there are magnets and things, I am gonna put tape in the middle as well. All right, now let me burnish these two. And yeah, see, they're the same size, so I just am gonna line this one kind of up with them and then trim with a ruler. And if you're doing this at home, you just want to trim 1/4 inch up from the top of the January and 1/4 inch down from the bottom of that line will get you close enough. Yeah. All right. So I'll finish taping, and then we will be good to stick these down, and then we can do a recording break and start working on the tags. Do a few tags, and then, well, then I don't know what we'll do. What will we do? I guess we have to do the wrapper, whatever is going to go decorate the outside of the wrapper. All right. So we just have to separate these two. And then we can do it. All right. Now we'll stick everybody down. Get stuck down, everyone. Stuck to your page. All right. And if you don't have access to the archives and you would like access to the archives, I always have a link in the video description when you're watching live, or if you're watching a recording on YouTube, it will be in the video description on YouTube as well. Link down below. You can get access to archives for as little as $5 a month, and you can cancel anytime. So if there's just like one thing that you want, you can pay for $5, cancel, and then you have your month to download whatever you want to download. And you can just explore all the files that are in there while you have your month of access. So if you want to see how past projects were decorated, or get downloads from previous Scrappy Bowl projects that are in there, all kinds of goodies. There's tons of projects in there that have the measurements included. if you want to take notes. So there's a lot going on in the archives. To be enjoyed. And last one. Okay, so those are all matted. Wonderful. So, I was going to do a recording break, but that only took 10 minutes. So I don't think I will do a recording break. I think we'll move right into tags. Okay, so tags. Tags are going to be 4.5 by 7.5. Anytime we're dealing with measurements of 4.5 by 7, anytime your tag, your mat, whatever, the measurements of the two sides adds up to 12 or less, then you can do a 5 by 7 pinwheel. So in this case, it's the 4.5 by 7.5 inch pinwheel. So we will put our piece at 4.5 and we will cut up to 4.5, turn, put it back at 4.5, cut up to 4.5, turn, put it back at 4.5, cut up to 4.5, turn, put it back at 4.5, cut all the way to the top. And that gives me 4.5 inch by 7.5 inch mats. Whereas if I tried to cut them out of one sheet of cardstock, I would only be able to get 3 if I didn't do this pinwheel. I'm going to just now check and see if any of my scraps are big enough. That we've got quite a pile of scraps that aren't big enough. These ones are. These ones are. These ones, these are, these. I think these maybe. No, these are too short. And those are long enough. So I showed you the pinwheel, but mostly I want to just cut these out of my scraps from other parts of the project. So I'm going to cut as many scraps as I can to 7.5 by 4.5. And that way, because we did have so many big scraps left over from other parts of the project. This makes me feel a little bit better about all my scraps that I have left over. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and those there. Now this next batch, I'm pretty sure these are already 4.5. Yeah, So these just need to be cut to 7.5 and they'll be ready to go. And if you have been working on this project along with me, you probably have similar sized scraps. So you can probably get a lot of mats, well, tags out of your scraps. All right, so that's a good start. But I did show you the pinwheels, so even if you don't have a lot of scraps for one reason or another, you can get your scraps out. So these look like very small pieces. I'm just going to leave out because I'm going to make tag reinforcers from them. Hey, sweetie, how are ya? For my pieces. And the way that you, well, I'll show you tag reinforcers later. All right, so let's... All right, now, okay, next, we're gonna prep these. So at the top, I'm gonna use 1-inch tape and I'm gonna put 1-inch tape across the top, and then I'm gonna put that 1-inch tape before I chomp them. That way, when I punch this hole and when I chomp these corners into tags, the tape will be completely edge to edge covered. So, except maybe I don't have 1-inch tape anymore. Why, hello. Hello, ma'am. How are you? How are you this evening? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to use 3/4 inch tape because I don't appear to have 1-inch tape, but 3/4 inch tape should work just as well. Hi, kitty. And these print 6 to a sheet if you print the 13 by 19, and they print 2 to a sheet if you print the 8.5 by 11. Hi. Hello. Oh. You're purring. Purr, purr, purr. You a happy kitty? You a happy kitty? Oh, please. Okay. I'll just keep taking. Yep. Oh. No, that's fine. You can just put your tail in my face. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool, kitty. It's cool. It's cool. Yeah, it's cool. Just put your tail in my face. Yeah, her tail, I would be in deep trouble. Deep trouble. All right, so I'm going to do them in batches of 6. And what I'm going to do is I'll just start with these 6. And, you know, we'll make 6 and then either we'll move on to the wrapper at that point, or we will, we'll make more if you want to make more. But I think 6 will be enough to really just show you what you're doing. What a nice kitty. What a nice kitty. She's burnishing the tape for me. She's not making this part easy, but I'll do my best. Here, kitty, just get under my arm. There you go. What are you doing? Are you helping? Are you helping? You holding that down for me? All right, kitty, you're gonna have to move, kitty. You have to move, sweetie. My sweet kitty, you have to move. Okay? Can you move like over here? There you go. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. That's in your way. There you go. Okay. So I'm just going to finish taping. We'll burnish the whole thing. And then we'll start working on the tags and stuff. So, all right. There we go. So now we're going to burnish. And we're going to cut them apart. And then cut them apart again at the bottom. And then we're going to do 2 punches. We're going to do a punch with the tag punch to round the corners, and then we're going to do a punch with the circle punch to remove that dark circle and create a hole. Now we don't have to do the circle at this time. We can actually wait until they're stuck down to the tags, and that way we only have to punch them once, meaning we don't have to punch a hole in the circle, so we can do that. I'm going to use the large angle punch and punch all their corners. And then we'll be inking these with the pumice stone ink and sticking them to our 4.5 inch by 7.5 inch tags. Well, it's funny because I thought about, earlier today I showed my next manicure, which is going to be tiny cat nails. And, you know, I was thinking about making kitty nails, but it's so hard because Kitty's on the show more than tiny cat. But Tiny Cat's a lot easier to do because Tiny Cat's just a black cat. So, but Kitty is, you know, multicolored and striped. So it would be a lot more difficult to do a kitty nail than a Tiny Cat nail. So I think kitty nails are beyond my skills. Beyond my skills. So earlier today, I put these cards together in Photoshop. They have the title of the author and a place to write the date for the books, and then 5 starbursts down at the bottom, or explosions, so that which you can fill in with however many stars you think a book deserves. And even if you don't make this book, of course, you could use these tags to keep track of all your books for book club and put them in an envelope album, or even put a ribbon through the holes or a ring through the holes. If you did a ring, you could always add to it and keep going, going, going. All right. So when I picked these up, I noticed that these that were right on top, I didn't trim down. I'm going to trim them down. They somehow escaped. And I'm making the tags 4.5 by 7.5 because I made my mats 4.25 by 7.25. But yeah, Kitty's been spending a lot more time in the office lately, and she's been following me around the house a lot more the last few days. I don't know if she just needs more time than usual or something, but she's been a little more, I don't know. She's just been following me around a lot more. All right. So now we're going to stick this down. And we're going to do 2 punches. We're going to punch the corners, and then we will punch the circle. Okay. So there's our first tag, looking good. And then the way that we make tag reinforcers, if you want to put a tag reinforcer, is just punch a bunch of holes with your 1/4 inch hole punch all the way around a piece of your cardstock. Okay, 1/4 inch hole. And then take your 3/4 inch hole, punch, okay, and circle, center the 1/4 inch hole in the 3/4 inch hole, and just punch them all out again. And this will give you a nice little tag reinforcer. And a good way to use your scraps. Especially your scraps that are not big enough to be photo mats, this is a great way to give them some purpose. And then, if you want to, you can continue to use this sheet. You just have to cut the lines that are connecting the circles, and you can usually get a few more out of the middle. And this is a great way to really, really use up a scrap. Because there's one thing that we all have so little of, and that's crafting supplies. No one engaged in this hobby has ever accumulated anything that could be referred to as a stash or a hoard or a collection. You know, we are always constantly using up every little tiny bit and running out of supplies, you know, so we've got to just stretch. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I just draw a circle with my glue around the hole. And then I set down the little piece. And then that finishes off nicely. And again, if you have the downloads, you don't even have to worry about measuring because you have that hole already there for you as a placeholder. So now what we can do is we can do mass production. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick down the remaining 5 to their tags. Then I'll do all my punching, and then I'll add my hole reinforcers. And what'll be fun is we'll be able to see what these pockets look like with things sticking out of them. Now I'll only have 6 tags when I'm done with this, so maybe we will want to do more just to get the the vibe of the book. But if we want, we can always come back to it or something. Kitty's asleep on the floor. Yeah, she's been spending a lot of time sleeping on the floor of my office. A lot of office sleepy time for Kitty. Last one. I mean, it's not the last one. I made 18. The rest are right here. the last one from this batch, and then we'll see what we want to do. Okay, so now that I've got them all here, I'm going to punch all their corners with the large angle punch. This is from We Are Memory Keepers. It's one of their corner chompers. I highly recommend it. It's great to have a nice sturdy tag punch like this. If you have this corner chomper, instead of doing your tags out of cardstock, you could do your tags out of even like a thin chipboard, a lightweight chipboard, and chomp through it. And then you could put these on a ring, like I said earlier, and they would be really sturdy then. All right, that's it for now. So now I'm going to go through and punch all of these holes with my 1/4 inch punch. Okay. Now we're going to go and go around the edge. And stick down the whole reinforcer. And we're going to do that on all of them. And last one. From this batch. And then the back is where you put your book cover. Your pictures of your book covers. Now, if you're using this as just a plain photo album, then of course you can put photos on the front and back of these pieces, because they have room for 4x6 photo on both the front and the back. All right, so let's take a look at how these are when they're actually in. So let's show you the different places that these can go. As soon as I figure out where I put the book, because I quite literally hid it from myself. Oh, here it is. Okay. All right, so places where these can go are in here. So these pockets have space for 2 of them. Okay. Which these look really cool in these pockets, I have to say. I love how like office supply-ish this looks, you know what I mean? And then they can also go in here. But I don't have enough to go all the way across. I'd have to make more, but you get the idea. And I could get, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 more in here. So 6, total of 6. But yeah, this is a really cool look for me. I always love office supply type looks. So I'm really enjoying this and how this turns out. All right, so those are the tags. Should I do, I'll do another round of tags. I'll do one more round of tags since we still have 20 minutes until 10 o'clock, halfway through. So I'll do another round of tags. We'll do another 6 or so. All right. Oh. I don't have 6. What? Whatever. I'll just do all the rest of them then. I don't know. I don't know. I thought I had 18. I don't know where I'm lost some of them. I don't know. Whatever. It's cool. It's cool. We'll just make a tape bracelet and do our thing. Now, remember, you can download these cards. You can use these cards if you want to. They are available in the archives. Or you can make your own. Get creative with it. Or you can just do photos. I wonder if I missed some of these when I was cutting them out. Kitty. Kitty, do you have my stuff? Do you have stuff for me? She doesn't. She says no. She says no. She doesn't have anything for me. I'm on my own. Oh well. Yay! I'm so happy that it looks so cool. Love, love, love anything that looks like it could come from a Staples. So, maybe that's something that's part of the progression. Like when you're younger, you're really into stationery and school supplies and office supplies, and then you graduate to crafting and hoarding paper. Not that any of you hoard paper, like I said before. I know you're all using every single scrap up, before you buy more. You know, but some people, I've seen the memes. I know that some people hoard craft supplies. So. Sometimes your tape bracelet is too long. Gretchen says, does spreading it out on your table and flipping through it count as using it? Sure. You know what? I think it can. It can count. Why not? I'm Empress of the world. There's no democracy, so if I say it counts, it counts. Oh, it's called the planning phase of the project, Bev says. See? There you go. You're in the planning phase of the project. You're definitely working at that point. I sent all of the National Scrapbook Day gift cards out, by the way. And when I was buying all the gift cards for everyone at all the different stores that they requested, I was like, man, I should just shop. All these stores look yummy. I haven't bought, because I have, one of my things is I have been pretty bad about using up my supplies. So I'm trying not to bring more physical supplies into the house. Now, unfortunately, that kind of translated into me using a bunch of digital stuff rather than me using up my physical stuff. So fail, you know, definite like fail there. But, you know, baby steps, baby steps. So at least I haven't brought more physical stuff into the house. So yeah, Melanie says, I don't hoard paper. I prepare for emergencies like lockdowns. Yeah. Crazy Ladies Craft says, yours fits on the table. Do you mean my tape bracelet? Yeah, my desk is pretty big. I think 4 feet by 6 feet. Something like that. This black mat is 2 feet by 3 feet. So I guess my desk is like 3 feet by 5 feet. Oh, she means Gretchen's hoard fits on the table. Gretchen's like, no, just the most recent acquisition fits on the table. I remember back when I used to live in an apartment and all of my craft supplies fit in like one of those art bin totes. Melanie's giving me pro tips. She's like, you said you weren't going to bring any more stuff into the house, but you could put it in the car and still keep that promise. I was a much simpler crafter back then, so that's part of it. Because that was back when I only did 12 by 12 for the most part. And, you know, if I went somewhere and did something extra fun, I would print the pictures and then I would craft a layout and then that would be it. That's what I would do. But man, did it explode from there. Did it not stay there at all. You know how finance people talk about like being careful that you don't get lifestyle creep? Like I feel like I have whatever the crafting version of lifestyle creep is. Maybe it's just lifestyle creep. Yeah, exactly. You need new and improved tools, new techniques that require new supplies. But if you had talked to 2005 Kathryn and asked her if she thought it would be reasonable to spend $1,000 on a printer so she could print her own paper at home, she probably would have like laughed you out of whatever time machine room you were in talking to her. She would have been like, no, it's completely insane. Who would do that? I mean, she thought owning a Cricut was outrageous or a die machine was outrageous when you could just go to the local scrapbooking store and use theirs. So, what an innocent babe she was. So, yeah. Gretchen says her new town rec center has a maker area and she's wondering if they're going to have crafting machines. My library has a maker area and it does have crafting machines, including a 3D printer, which I think is really interesting. Don't even bring up Copics. Oh my gosh, Copics! Ah, the ultimate lifestyle creep. Yeah, if you had asked 2005 Kathryn hemmed and hawed about whether or not to buy a $45 set of Zig markers. 2021 Kathryn has probably 100 Copics. I don't want to count them because I don't want to know if I have a lot more than 100, you know? I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I'm like, this set of 60 markers is all the colors I'll ever need, but it's $45 for the whole set. What an innocent, sweet summer child. 2021 Kathryn could be like, one day you'll spend $45 on 4 markers and you'll think that you got a deal. 2005 Kathryn would have been like, what on earth? What on earth? Oh, so now, okay, people are sharing. So 1998 Gretchen didn't want to spend $30 on a guillotine cutter because she could use the one at work. Now I wish I'd bought 3 of them. Yeah. Jill says, weren't we all so innocent? Yeah, I mean, I had a whole class on, and I mean, it was a series that I did. I would say, probably 7, 8 years ago now, where I showed you how to, if you didn't like a piece of paper, how you could use your art supplies to change it into a different piece of paper that you liked more. You know, like I had a whole thing, you know, I mean, well, never mind. I was going to say I was probably more creative back then, but it's not that I was. My creativity is more in the construction zone now. So. Yeah, Pat, our library just opened. Our library, we have 2 libraries. They're very close to each other. They're maybe like half a mile apart. And I think it's because the one got too small for the area and you know, there was too much demand or whatever, and basically what was happening is pretty much everyone in my area was going to this library that was like 10-15 minutes away called the South Shore Library, and we were using all their stuff. So the Friends of the Library just built a similar makerspace library near us. And it was under construction when the illness started, and it finished construction during the lockdown, and now it's open. And I took my mom to see it, and it looks like the makerspace part of it is not open. So just the, you know, book section is open. So maybe they don't want to clean those machines like over and over and over again, or they don't have a protocol for how to deal with that or what. But you can go in the library and you can check out books, but you can't use the... But they even have a filming studio with like green screens and lighting and cameras and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be really cool once it's... They all have a recording studio for music and editing software and computers for video and music editing. So it'll be cool once it's a bit, you know. But yeah, that'll be... But this happens with a lot of hobbies. Like golf is a hobby that definitely, it's like, I gotta have the newest driver, glove, shirt, shoe, etc., the newest gear. Or people who are really into audio, video stuff, you know, gotta always be upgrading the speakers. Got to get the newest golf cart. All right, so now that they're all stuck down, I'm going to come back through with a large angle punch. The new library is really nice, though. It has like a Key West kind of vibe, like an old Florida look. And nothing's that old in Florida, but you know. Eddie Izzard has a funny bit about visiting Miami and people showing off buildings and saying, and this was restored to how it was 70 years ago. And oh, very impressive. It's like, yeah, roosters in the road, exactly. All right, and then once you've chomped the corners, you can go back through and punch the circles. our neighbors are moving. The neighbors that we are on the corner lot, so we have neighbors behind us and neighbors to one side, and then on the other side of the house there are no neighbors. And they were telling Damien that they want to move because it's the seller's market and they've been in the house a decent chunk of time. So, you know, and we were like, but then you would have to buy another house, and it's still a seller's market though, man. But they said no, they're just going to rent. So, never mind. So, hopefully the people who move in next door like half painted houses, because you know, our house is still not painted. So we've now gotten 2 violation letters from the HOA. Maybe you should cover your house with scrapbooking paper. Well, I said I was gonna go out one night and just paint a bunch of like graffiti on the side of the house, and then maybe, you know, maybe they would really do something. But then I was afraid someone would have like a ring or something, and it would catch me, and they would know it was me. So, and then I'd have to paint it because I vandalized it or something. You're not the owners. What are they going to do? Put a lien on the cat? Well, that's why, I mean, I don't really care, you know, because even if they put a lien on the house, you know, then it's not my problem. I can move in and out if there's a lien on the house. It's just the corporation that owns it won't be able to sell it, you know, and they can still rent it out. I also think they don't care because they can still rent it out even if there is a $10,000 lien on the house. You know, they don't have to worry about paying that ever, really, if their plan is to just rent it out forever. Oh, they send it to Invitation Homes, care of me. So the letters are all addressed to Invitation Homes. That's the Wall Street company that owns my house, which I think is either or used to be a BlackRock subsidiary. So owned by a hedge fund. I guess it's a mutual fund. Whatever. But they may have separated off from them, but I don't know if they did or not. But yeah, it's basically, you know, an investment company owns us, and they could care less. I mean, that's been our experience. They have really, really terrible ratings. It's really funny because a lot of property management companies have terrible ratings because, you know, there's not a lot of really super great landlords, okay? I'm not saying they don't exist. My parents are landlords, you know. They're not trying to cheat anyone, but like a lot of property management companies have terrible ratings. It's like really rare to see a property management or an apartment complex that has like 3 or better ratings. But in our area, Invitation Homes has a 1. Compared to other property managements, which are in the like 2.5 to 3 range. So they're like terrible for a property management company. And like they never know what's going on with anything. we got an email over the weekend that we needed to call and schedule the house painting as soon as possible. And the house painting is already scheduled. So we were like, what is this now? You know, what is this new problem? So I had to call them and like explain to them that we already had a house painting scheduled, and let them know that there was some kind of problem in their system, or did we need to reschedule it? And so then he was like, oh, well, when the maintenance guys were in the system earlier, they, instead of updating your existing house painting to reflect a new notice from the HOA, they made a new one. And it's like, okay, well, I don't care why your employees are stupid or whatever, but like, you know, it shouldn't be my job to have to constantly alert you to what's going on with your employees. And like, they had a professional painting company come out and do a, you know, like a scope for the project. And then like the company decided not to have professional painters do it. So like 3 guys from the maintenance department are going to do it. I'm sure they'll do a great job. I'm sure there will be no problems. All right, so I've got all of the tags in these pockets, and then the remaining tag that I have, I'm going to go ahead and stick in here. And as far as I can tell, this is all I've got printed right now. I thought I printed more, but you know, that is what it is. So I think this is a good place to do a recording pause, a recording break, if you will. And then what we'll do is I'm going to just call the inside done. I'm assuming that you're all okay with calling the inside done. And then we can move around to the outside. So how many more tags do I need? I need 3 plus 12. So I need 15 more tags. I need 15 more tags because it's 6, 6, and then the other 3 from here. So yeah, 15. So let's do a little recording break, and well, before we do a recording break, let's do a recording break, and then I'll be back and we'll talk about what are we going to do with the outside. What are we going to do with the outside? So just if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to check the video description below to links to our social media group where you can chat with other crafters, links to the archives. If you want to watch past shows, links to the playlist that has all the rest of the videos for this project if you want to start watching from the beginning. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye now. Greetings, Glitter Gang. It's 10 o'clock on Thursday, May 13th. We are here for the second part of Kathryn Scraps Live for the evening show. We just finished doing all the tags in the previous video, and so this is what it looks like with tags in all the pockets. I love the like office supply vibe that it has. It's really cool. I'm really happy with it. Oh, I just had an idea. I'm gonna take the 2 tags so that I can put a tag in the middle of each one so that it looks like it's full of tags. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what, it looks like it's full of tags now. Ta-da! Now it's full of tags. So we just finished adding all of the tags, and now it's looking great. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to work on the wrapper. And I am going to make a suggestion, and you let me know what you think about it. But I'm thinking that we put this panel here and here, all quilted. All quilted. What do you think? How's that sound? Good, bad? But yeah, I'm thinking all Franken quilts. All Franken quilts. So the whole thing would be quilted, like almost like a quilted bag. Okay, so a couple things we need to do just so that we don't have to glue down every single strip of paper. We're going to have to glue cardstock to this that can be a place for me to tape my quilts. Okay, so we do have to do some gluing. Now, it's okay to glue on the backs of these because it's glue to glue. So on the other side, it's glued as well. So it's going to be fine. It's already nice and stiff from the glue we did earlier. So we are going to have to do some gluing. And I'm going to use scraps. So I just need to figure out like what size to glue. So this one is going to be, all right, so it's like 8 1/8. So I'm going to do 8 by, I think this is, we're going to do 8 by 13 1/4. 8 by 13 1/4 is really what we want to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 1, 2, 3. I'm going to cut 4 of these down to 8, and then we'll kind of go from there. Well, each one is going to be different, but if you're following along, you might want to write these down. Oh, well, once I have my final cardstock size, then I can remeasure, because I'm going to kind of eyeball, not going to lie. Eyeballing is part of the plan. All right, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to deal with this cardstock liner and try to use some more scraps. So what I'm going to do is, all right, I'm just going to kind of fold this. Wait, hold on one second. Okay, I don't need any magnets on this one because it's on the inside. I just wanted to double check that I wouldn't need any magnets on that one. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just Scotch Quick Dry just to be in the interest of time. I used my Perfect Paper Adhesive Matte on the inside, but I let it dry overnight, so or at least for several hours. So I'm just going to go ahead and go with Scotch Quick Dry just because it's a little bit quicker. That's why it's hence the name. All right, so once it's kind of stuck, I'm going to burnish it. But it is quick dry and it does dry pretty quickly. So then we're going to go on to the next one. And then I just line this up right next to it. And press it down. Press, press, press. And just, you know, push them together. Press, press. Really press on the edges in particular. And then once the edges start kind of sticking, then can burnish. Okay. Third piece. Third verse, same as the first. Okay, so why am I doing this? I'm doing this because whatever is attached to craft text needs a liquid glue, okay? Craft text really needs a liquid glue. Tape just kind of pops right off it. And I can either put a cardstock base down where this cardstock is glued to the craft text, and then I can stick my paper strips to this piece, or I have to glue each piece, hold it down to the craft text, and I don't want to do that. All right, now here is where I'm going to take my last piece and I'm going to mark with a pencil where it needs to be trimmed. That way I don't have to measure anything. I don't have to measure, I don't have to do math. Just put that little notch in the cutting channel and done. Now I know that this is the perfect size to go on the end. Okay? So now you don't have to measure. All you need to do is measure from here to here. Okay? Whatever that measurement is, that measurement needs to be consistent. But you can just keep adding scraps until you get to the end. All right, perfect. Okay, so we've got that one done. This one, now we have to do this next one, this one. And same thing, I'm gonna just glue it. I'm not gonna worry about magnets or whatever. I'll put the magnets for this closure under the Franken paper. So the only thing I need to know is from here to here, what's the measurement, because each one is a little bit different. And I can still do 8. They're not that different. So I'll just do 8. And we know this time I'm only going to need 3 pieces because I have enough there to take care of it. All right, so I'm gonna, I guess I'll have to do this one like this, up the middle. All right. Oh, it's going to be so fun to make all these quilts. Okay. Let's do another one. And of course, you don't have to use scraps like I'm doing. You could do it in 2 pieces of cardstock instead. But I have so many annoyingly sized scraps of cardstock from this project. I'm determined to use them. So this is how I'm going to do it. All right. Remember, make sure the edges are really stuck down before you worry about the middles, because you don't want those edges to lift. All right, now, same thing as before. We're just going to put this right on the edge and just make a little pencil mark. Where it needs to be cut. Still haven't needed to measure. And now we'll glue it down. And what I'm going to use is I'm going to use scraps of my 13 by 19 that didn't work out to cover these pieces. Well, not to cover the, well, to cover the pieces to make my quilts. So it will be one piece of the 13 by 19, or, you know, cut down. So we'll be able to go edge to edge. I read it back when it was its month that it didn't win, Fran. It is a quick read. I don't think it's a difficult read at all. I mean, the writing style is pretty simple. Now, there's a lot of complex ideas, but the writing, it's just easy to read, you know. Okay. All right, so I'm going to measure this one and see if 8 is going to work just as well for it as it did for the others. This is actually the smallest one. 8's not going to work. I'm going to have to cut it to 7 and 7/8. 7 and 7/8. And once again, I'm going to need 4 pieces, or 3 pieces plus this scrap. I have 3 pieces left, so let's do it. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is cut this one down to 7 and 7/8, this little tiny one. So I don't forget about it and then wonder why it doesn't fit. And then we'll cut these. Okay. Now, let's glue these all down. And then once these are glued down, we really only have 2 more areas of gluing to do, and it's the 2 sides of this flap. But I think it'll go a little quicker because we'll be able to put the paper long ways. Cover a bit more ground that way. So in the chat, they're talking about the Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arakawa with translation by Philip Gabriel. Philip Gabriel does a lot of Japanese translation, does Murakami stuff. The 2 of them have been working together for a really long time, I believe. And I read a piece on the 2 of them somewhere that was talking about how, like, some writers and their translators really get very close, like working on the translation. The piece was about a bunch of different writers and their translators, but like I think it was kind of centered on the 2 of them, Philip Gabriel and Murakami. But what I thought was really super interesting is Gabriel Garcia Marquez says that because of his the collaborative relationship with the translator, that working relationship, in his opinion, all of the English translations of his books are better than the Spanish originals, which I thought was really, really interesting because, you know, like somehow through the collaboration, maybe he was able to refine some ideas and the translator was able to bring them to light. I don't know. I just thought that was really interesting for an author to think that a translation was a better way to experience a book than the language it was written in. But yeah, like different translators have different approaches. Some of them are trying to be more literal. Some of them are trying to keep the style. Like it just sounded, it was a really interesting article. I thought it was nice to read about what's, I'm sure, a really complex issue. So if you were planning on learning Spanish so you could read 100 Years of Solitude in the original language, the author says don't bother. I mean, he didn't say don't bother, but I just thought it was really interesting. All right, so now we have our last little scrap. I'm going to stick it down and hope it fits, which it doesn't, so I need to cut a little sliver off of it. All right, so we're almost done gluing all these panels on, thankfully. Alrighty. So we've got all of the panels. I'm going to leave these blank. I like the look of a raw spine, so I'm happy to leave those blank. This is 3.5-inch flap or thereabouts, so I'm going to do 3 3/8. And should I do it out of all these tiny pieces, or should I just get a big piece? And I'm going to do it out of these little pieces. I'm going to look for the longest ones. Okay. 3 3/8. And I'm going to cut 6 of them. And I'm sure that'll be enough. So it probably won't be enough because I am confident that it will be enough. I'm so confident I'm just gonna cut 5. And we'll see how we do. So those of you that finished the Traveling Cat Chronicles, did you cry? Were tears shed? All right. So this piece is a little bit long. Well, they're all the same length. So I just need to make a mark on where to cut it and give it a little trim. Fran says she was driving and small tears escaped. Well, I'm glad you were okay. Yeah. I'm gonna just, because this is so curly, just gonna give it a press, a little bit of a press while I glue this other piece down. I thought that, yeah, that's really interesting too. Jill said she thought the author gave the main character a really great personality. You know, the book is narrated by the cat, so not by the person, which is a really interesting choice and works. I think it works. All right, I'm going to let this get a little bit of a press here before I move on to the other side. Just a minute. Nothing too drastic. Oh my gosh, is my AC working at all? Am I having a hot flash? How do you know the difference between it's summer in Florida and menopause? All right, so I'm going to flip it over and we'll do this side. Glue, 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 glue. Oh, okay, so the way you can tell is that if it's just because it's summer and it's hot, it doesn't go away. But if it ends, then it was a flash. I see. Well, this has been going on for, you know, about 90 minutes, so I think it's just, you know, the heat of the summer has exceeded my air conditioning's capacity. All right. And then for this piece, I'm just going to take one of these tiny little scraps and I'm going to mark it in two places. I'm going to mark it here and here so I know where to cut it. It could very well be that too, Gretchen. Gretchen says that she's always hotter when she's teaching a class. And even though my studio lights are LED, that doesn't mean that they're cool, you know. It just means they're cooler than if they were halogens. I think summer's here, Fran. I think we have to accept it. It's that time of year again. You never had hot flashes. Oh, so that's not a guarantee? Interesting. All right, so we've made a pretty good dent in our scrap pile compared to what it looked like when we started. So that's nice. All right, so I'm gonna just let that sit for a second to just kind of flatten out, and then we'll place our magnets so we don't forget them, and then we'll start working on, oh, it's 10:41. So I don't know if I should start making quilts. I'll make one quilt. I'll make a quilt for a small one for the flap. I can't finish all of them. I thought I maybe could finish it tonight, but I had completely lost track of time. Completely lost track of time. So I'm not going to be able to finish the wrapper tonight. I was hoping I would. But I'll at least place the magnets, and then if there's time to do one quilt, we'll do one quilt. I guess I was having fun. I thought I had plenty of time to finish it. Just kidding. But I should be able to wrap it up next class, no problem. So we'll be able to work on the box set album. We'll be back next week, probably in the nighttime show, because I can't imagine not finishing this in the afternoon show, because we just have to do 3 quilts or possibly 4 quilts. But I mean, we can do 3 quilts. I mean, we can. In 2 hours? Of course we can. Of course we can. So we will definitely be and I say we're definitely going to be working on the whatever. And it's like I've never met myself. This is past Kathryn running her mouth, and getting future Kathryn in trouble. That's what's happening right now. That's what's happening right now. Oh, we'll definitely. Absolutely, no problem. 100%. Yep. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm just going to put the center line of this piece kind of in the middle. I'm just eyeballing it, and I'm just gonna draw lines where I want to put my 3 magnets. And what I'm going to do is gonna put a little piece of tape in each of these spots. Okay. Burnish. Peel. All right, ow. And then look at Kathryn using magnets like, I'm going to use magnets like it's 2016. I'm going to use 3 magnets. And I'm going to go magnet to magnet. I'm not even going to go to a tin cap. I'm going magnet to magnet. Because I'm rich. I'm rich. That's how you know. That's how you know someone's rich, if they go magnet to magnet. That's the That's the new flex culture. How many magnets did they use? Well, there was a problem getting magnets because of a mineral supply before the illness, and then I don't know what happened. If you know, if that just the supply shortages everywhere, if that made the magnet situation worse, but people were having trouble getting magnets. So I don't know if it's the mineral supply problem just continuing on, or if it's that plus pandemic or what. All right, so what I'm going to do now is when I close this, I want to keep my seams kind of together. Okay. All right, so now we've got all of our magnets on. Stays together. Still plenty of room inside to stuff some more stuff. So no problems there. We've got 12 minutes. Let's go ahead and make a small one, okay? All right, so this flap is, I know I said 3 3/8, so I'm going to do 3 1/4, and then the length is going to be 13 3/8. So now, here's some smart thing that's happening in my brain right now. I'm going to make a thing. I'm about to blow your minds. Hopefully. Hopefully I'm not overselling this. I'm going to make a piece that's 6 1/2, 13 3/8 and 6 1/2. Going to make it, and then we're going to cut it in half and use half of it on the front and half of it on the back. What? 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 Whoa. Hopefully your minds were blown. All right, so this ruler is 6 1/2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark 13 3/8. So I know how far up I need to go with my cutting and where I need to come in from the side. And just because of how long it is, I'm going to use my craft knife. 6.5 by 13 3/8. Now, all we need to do, it's the same as always. We're going to take one corner I'm going to actually take the bottom left corner. And then that's my guideline, and to make it easier for me to see, I just line the two ends of my guideline up with the same line on my mat, and then I draw in my guideline with a pencil or a pen, doesn't really matter. All right. Okay, so now we have the basis. So the next step in making a quilt, or a Franken paper, whichever you would like to call it, is to cover it with tape. And you want to cover it completely with tape, edge to edge. And so the best thing, in my opinion, is to let your tape go over all the edges. So just by like a 1/16 or a 32nd of an inch, it's not like it's a lot, but you want the tape to go a little bit over the edges, and then trim the tape. And the reason you want to go over the edges is because you don't want any area on the edge where like your hard work can peel, you know. So like here I can kind of just fill it in with a piece of tape that's not quite big enough, and it's not a big deal. But on the edges it's really important. All right, so now we just flip it over and trim the tape off the edges. All right. So now that that's down, I'm going to set it to the side. Well, I'm going to burnish it. Then I'm going to set it to the side, and we need to make some strips. All right. Excitement. Now with this, I want to just make sure I have one complete set of hands. So, you know, I'm not going to do a specific measurement. I'm just going to line it up and cut where it looks good. I'm going to cut a couple pieces of this. I'll cut one that's like a 1/2 inch. I'm just cutting a variety of sizes because these aren't scraps, so I can kind of do whatever I want. This one, I kind of want to cut on an angle, like in between the books. Maybe we'll use it as the corner. And I'm gonna cut another one, still on this angle. Okay. This one, same thing. I'm going to cut, you know, below the first row of owls' feet so that I have a whole row of owls and their feet. And of these more background type pieces, I'm going to cut, you know, 2 pieces. Okay. So that's a good start. We'll see how we do with those. I think we're going to need more. You know what? I'll just do the other pack. I'll just do the other pack, and then we have plenty. This one has some bigger patterns in it anyway that I'm not going to want to use. All right. So I'm going to do these. Yeah, the birds got to keep their feet. Weird. Weird, weird, weird. Who let them keep their feet? Some really big owls. And all right, there we go. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll start with these. Oh, so this one isn't going to work on this diagonal, but this will. You know, I'll be able to use this piece, but not this piece. That's okay. That's okay. All right, so I'm going to start with the big owls. And we only need to ink the long sides. We don't have to ink the short sides because those will get inked when we oh no, we have a little curl. I'm just going to try and get it to come up. Lay back down. We're all good. My hand's all nicely exfoliated. And we've got our owls down. All right, so I'm gonna ink this blue piece on the long sides. And I just squeaky. Oh, not going to get a lot of ink out of the lid of your distress ink, okay? All right, gonna put my hands. Gonna stick them down. Nope, nope, I'm changing my mind again. Okay, let's get some I love books. And books. And then we just need a little tiny piece of something right there. Just gonna cut this little bit off of this pink. That'll finish up this side. And then I'll just need to finish off the other side. So let's put our bookshelves, just like a little bookshelf right there in the corner to finish it off. All right, now we can burnish this whole thing. And we're gonna cut it twice, okay? So the first cut is to make it a rectangle, and then we need a cut to divide it in half for one piece for the front and one piece for the back. So first we trim it so it becomes our beautiful quilt. Trimming it is the magical part, because it's when you flip it over and it looks so amazing. It's so satisfying too. Oh, look at it. It's so beautiful. All right. So right now it's 6.5 inches and it needs to be 3 1/4. So I'm going to take it over to the rototrim and cut it in half. And then we will see what we see. All right, there they are, the two pieces. How wonderful are they? So now we just ink the outside. They look completely different, which is amazing. They look completely different. I mean, look at them. All right, so there we go. All right, so now we just have to add tape and stick them to our project. should have added tape before I cut them apart, but what can you do? There's nothing magical about your trimming. Some days there could be a lot more magic. All right. And here we go. So I'm going to burnish. We'll cut them apart. And we'll stick them to the book. So let's go get the book. And then I'm gonna just open it so I can have a little bit better access to the flap. And I'm gonna center it. Well, that looks cool. All right, so now we're gonna peel our magnet stripe and add our, well, should our owl be looking at the ladies or looking away from? I like the owl looking away from the ladies better, actually. So I'm gonna put the owl like so. Yeah, the owl isn't into ladies. The owl only likes books, not ladies. All right, so here's, it's starting to come together. Okay, so we've got our flaps. And then we'll do something here. Oh, look how cute this owl looks when we open it. He does get to keep his feet, which is a rarity on this show that we allow a bird to keep their feet. So, you know, good work. So we're going to do something here. We're going to do something here. And then here we are on the inside where we've got all our ladies. We've got all our tags with journaling, and then you can do photos on the back. Flip them up for more ladies, places to write some notes, some stats. Another 6 tags can go in these long pockets. Lots of stuff you can jam in this one. So really wonderful album. I'm very happy with it. So we're gonna keep a record of our books in style, and I will be back next week to finish it. I think we can. We just have we only have 2 more panels to do, right? 3 more panels to do. We can make some more tags if we need to fill the class time, and then we'll call it done. So this is the book club journal. That's the name of the playlist on YouTube. The playlist is linked down below if you want to see the whole thing. It is a free project available on YouTube. You just need to take notes of the measurements, but I gave all the measurements for National Scrapbook Day as my gift to you. And then just as a reminder that anything digital in our shop is 40% off through the weekend. So through the weekend, that would be, it's May 13th right now. So through the, I don't know, the 16th, I guess, whatever Sunday is 40% off. And we still have our Glitter Party 2021 going on through the end of May, where by posting one of your books inspired by one of my projects, you can be entered to win a Rototrim, or if I can't ship a Rototrim where you live, or you already have a Rototrim, you can get a $200 gift card to the scrapbook store of your choice. So be sure to check the links down below, especially for the social media group, for the Facebook group, to get more information on any of that. And of course, you can shop the tutorials at kathrynscraps.com. Click shop, and there is no coupon. The prices reflect the 40% off. So thanks so much for joining me, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.